Alright guys, it's been a while since I've had a Seiko Sumo on the channel, but thankfully Mimo, over at Mimo's Jewelry, I'll put a link in the description, sent over this new Sumo model, the spb103. You can see here on the hang tag, spb103. Has the caliber 6R35, which greatly improves the power reserve up to 70 hours. But it carries a hefty price tag of $850. Now, obviously, that's a new movement. There's a different handset here. I mean, you got a bunch of different changes as far as the cosmetics go, and a really good, rich-looking watch altogether. But it also has a sapphire crystal. So, for everyone complaining that a sapphire crystal should have been included at whatever price point you thought it should have been included at, Seiko's kind of doing it more often now. So, and that's a good thing. So the Sumo always has and always will. I don't think they need to change anything like as far as the case for sure, because that's a home run. The case shape, the case finishing, all of that is like not really to be toyed with. It's already perfection. And quite frankly, I really actually even like the bracelet, the way it matches up to the case and everything. And I know that can be a something that people like or hate, but let's get into the case size, because that's also another thing I've heard talked about. It is a large watch, but this is like the definitive Seiko case that can wear on way smaller wrists than you can think. And I'll give you a couple of prime examples of that here in a moment. But case measurements, I just measured it on my mic here, and I measure 44.7. I know everyone says it's a 45. I just measured it at 44.7. I also measured the lug to lug at 51.9, nice turned down drilled lugs. Thickness at only 12.9, so it's actually pretty thin as far as this size watch goes. And then the lug width here is a 20 mil, and the bracelet does taper down to around 19, 18, something like that. Fold over clasp, standard affair here with a Seiko, all stamped bits, 4 micro adjust. You know, it's going to have the simple dive extension up here. I'm not mad at that. I mean, I guess a milled clasp, I think some people would like. I really don't care. I'm totally fine with this clasp system from Seiko. Solid end links, really nice bracelet. It's going to be easy to size and everything. I like to have a lot of my Seiko divers when I really get a chance to spend some time with them. I kind of want them to be familiar. I don't want a fundamental change across the board. You know, a sapphire crystal is a good improvement. You know, keep upgrading the movements. You're on the 6R35 now. Hopefully that'll trickle down into some other models too, like newer monsters or whatever other models they come out with. You know, sometimes they pop out a new diver that we weren't expecting. So it's always fun to see these developments in these well-known good models, that a lot of this stuff is going to trickle down. So 120 click bezel, very good operation on this thing. It is a premium feeling Seiko. It still feels like Seiko, but it just feels really good. You know, lines up perfect. Offset crown, always a big fan of that. It unscrews and functions perfectly as you would expect. Now this one, you know, I guess you could call it the Hulk, but it's not. It's such a deep forest green, and then the fact that they didn't use a gold tone on the hands and indices and everything is just a win in my book. Gold does not always have to go with green. You can do this green with all this polish bits like that, and I think it looks stellar. So, because in most lights, like, you know, you get it like that, and it looks black. I mean, there's no doubt about it. And then you get in the right light, I mean, especially in natural light, you're going to get that dial to really come alive. But in the studio lights here, you can easily see the bezel insert is going to show green, but the dials are really nice deep forest green. So excellent looking dial colors. So let me pop this guy on wrist real quick for you. Let me zoom back out. Now it's not sized for my 7 1/4 wrist, but you remember how I said that it kind of can be tricky on wrist? So you can see here on my 7 1/4, and granted, you know, this is kind of up close, so it's going to look bigger, but I'm telling you guys, this thing, it has no hot spots. It feels great on wrist. If you are torn on the Sumo and you think you like really want to try one, you're not going to regret it. and they hold value pretty good, even on the used market. So if you try it and you decide it's not for you, you can probably sell it for a reasonable, a small loss, which is, a nice thing to have in the entry-level diver section. So I know a couple of people personally that are big fans of the Sumos, and they have smaller wrists than I do. I'm at 7 1/4. I believe they're around 6 3/4. I could be wrong. Maybe they'll chime in the comments. But one is my buddy Jorge down in Chicago, which I was hoping to meet up with at that Microlux show, and we missed out. But I'll be back down there soon, and hopefully him and I can go grab a drink or something like that. But he loves his Sumo, and he wears it, and there's no issue. And he's got a smaller wrist. The other one is one of the hosts on Two Broke Watch Snobs, Kaz. He loves his Sumo. He actually just went on a cruise, on a Disney cruise with his wife, and I'm pretty sure he said that's the only watch he brought, or at least that's the only watch he wore, was his Seiko Sumo. And he has a smaller wrist, and he wears his Sumo proudly and comfortably, and it just works great. So don't be intimidated by the size of it. I honestly believe if you can wear a Seiko SKX comfortably, you'd be surprised to hear people say this, but I'm telling you, if you can wear this comfortably, I'm confident you can wear the Sumo comfortably. So don't be intimidated by it. It is a very nice watch, and there's tons of different colorways out there. The older ones, I'm not really sure what they're doing price-wise, but I'm looking forward to seeing more and more of this current version. The green was like a home run right out of the park, right out of the gate here, but I suspect there will be some really good combos coming up soon as well. So here's a loom shot. Insane good loom from Seiko as always. I really like that new handset. It works perfect with this. I wouldn't change a darn thing with the Sumo. I think it's perfect the way it is, to the point where I've been toying with the idea of adding more Seiko divers to my collection again. It seems like I cycle in and out of them, but anyway, that'll be for a whole nother show, guys. So big thanks to Mimo for sending this in and sharing with us. Bruce did a really good video of this watch, and he also did a comparison video because he has his blue coral Sumo. So I'll try to put a link of those both in the description if for some reason you're subbed to me or watching this video and you already haven't watched Bruce's video. I don't know why that would happen, but I'll put those in the description. I'll put a link to Mimo's website in the description. Email Mimo and tell him I sent you. If you're looking for a Seiko watch, tell him Random Rob sent you, and work a good deal and get yourself a killer watch from a Seiko authorized dealer. And he ships fast, and he's a really good guy to deal with. So I'll see you guys in the next vid. Thanks for watching.